Hey everyone, our latest big conversation here on the counterattack, talking with the LMU Lion recently named to the Catino Award watch list, Alika Naone. Alika, how are you?
Great, Greg. Thanks for having me.
Good to talk with you here. You're a LMU Lion now. For those that followed your college water polo journey, started at Cal, Long Beach State, some time out of college water polo. Tell me what it's like to be back in the college game and what you're liking about being a part of this LMU squad.
I'm extremely grateful, first of all, to Coach David for giving me this opportunity. I think I it was a very humbling experience to lose my chance to play, and I think that time away from the sport definitely it was humbling. It was like a reality check, and being back is just like you don't realize, how lucky you are to have such amazing facilities, so many people supporting you and your dreams, and I think the college landscape has changed drastically. Like, I think this generation of players are clearly pushing the envelope based on just the U20 World Championship result and the bronze medal. I mean, getting to watch like former teammates go out there and rule the world, it was inspiring, and so I'm just so grateful to have a team at LMU that's backing me 100%, and I back them 100%, and we're here every day together trying to do something that this program hasn't done in a long time.
Alika, of course, referencing some of the great success there for the U20 men's silver this past summer, bronze a couple of years ago. So things trending up with that group. You mentioned LMU changes there, right? Longtime head coach retiring, new head coach, some new pieces. How have you kind of maybe tapped in, being an older guy, tapped in kind of your experience to try to help a group kind of gel together here?
Yeah, luckily having that, a little bit more experience and being around different teams, like, gives me the perspective of how important the team is. Like, to be honest, you can't do anything alone, and every opportunity you do get is because of six other guys putting you in that position and trusting you to do something, and the same for those guys. We're working for them to be in a position to help our team, and so Coach David is, he's doing a great job of letting us know like what to expect. Like, no one's gonna hand us like anything, and he's very clear with us that like we have all this hype, and we haven't been delivering as much as we've been hyped, and so it's really on us to come together and do something together rather than be a group of individuals.
You're in an extremely fun conference on the men's side, WCC, with San Jose State strong, right? A year ago it was California Baptist winning it all. Obviously, we know about UOP. You're about to get into the heart of the conference slate. When you kind of look up and down that list, how challenging is the gauntlet of WCC play? I know you want to try and be at the top of this whole thing come Air Force in November.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Like, I think San Jose has risen to a level that the rest of the group has to rise to as well. I think CBU and Pacific are right there. I think you can't forget about Pepperdine ever. They're right there too, and you can't leave out Air Force. Like, it's like all of us top to bottom. It's for sure a gauntlet. It's I think it's the most neck and neck conference. I mean, the MPSF is neck and neck as well. Like, that's they're definitely on a different level. This and it's evident, but we're hoping we're hoping that things come together at the right time, and we can peak at the right time and do something. But we will never know until the day comes.
Sure, sure. So let's kind of wind back. You kind of hit on it a bit, right? Being grateful for having this opportunity and kind of not realizing maybe what you had in the sport of water polo till it was gone. You were at Long Beach State previously, started out at Cal. I guess let's kind of go back to the beginning a bit, right? You're originally from Hawaii. You start your high school water polo career at one of the legendary programs at Punahou, and then make the move to California to go to Oaks Christian. What made you make that leap at that time? If you think it back now, several years ago, going from Hawaii to California to try to advance your water polo game.
Yeah, so it was I remember it super clearly. It was I had 2 summers where Coach Clark Witherspoon at the 14U program at Stanford, he extended the opportunity to come and train uh, over the summer, and like that taste, and then I was named to a. It was actually funny. My first year doing ODP, I was on the Hawaii B team, and then the second year I made selection camp, and I was so happy about this. And then I made the national team that year, and I couldn't believe it. I was sitting there with my eyes closed, like sitting at Ocean View, like hoping that I would hear my name. And when I did hear my name, I'd never forget the feeling. Like I just couldn't believe it. And so I got to play that whole summer and with the 14U team, and we ended up winning JOs, and then we did a national team training camp with the Canadian national team, and I got a call from Jack Coker, and he said, "Do you want to go to Jamaica?" And I was just like, "Of course!" I didn't even know what was happening in Jamaica. I just said yes, and it was the Pan American Games, and we got to play that. We ended up getting second, and we had a young team, and I had no business being on that team, but the just seeing the level of athlete made me realize like I couldn't make, the jumps that I wanted to make in the sport in Hawaii. And so I begged my parents. I was like, please let me go to California. Like I want to. I really, my dream is to play for the United States in the Olympics. And they were like, okay, if you get, if you get all A's this semester and next semester, then we'll consider it. And so I made sure my studies were on point, and I applied to Oaks Christian because I knew Jack Coker and I knew Adrian Weinberg and I knew Jake Earhart, so I felt comfortable. And so then that opportunity arose, and I got to train there for 3 years, and Brett Ormsby and Brian Flax and Ross Sinclair all like took me to 2018 World Championships in Hungary, and we beat Hungary in the pre-tournament. We beat them by like 4 or 5, and then we cross over with them in the main tournament, and we go to a shootout, and we lost in the shootout, and that would have taken us to the top 4. And Hungary ended up getting third in that tournament, and so then I ended up going to Cal, and we had an amazing season, and we were the regular season champions. We beat UCLA in overtime, like most of the games we played them, like we were beating them, and then the practice before we go down to NC2As, I tore my groin. I did one breaststroke kick and like tore my groin, and I couldn't move, and I tried to play on it, but I just couldn't. It hurt too much to play. And we ended up losing to SC in the semifinal, and it was just so heartbreaking. And I came back, and Coach Evers sat me down and was like, "Hey, like, there's some things that we need to address. Like, you need to like change, how you are as a teammate." And I had too much pride, and like I was too arrogant to like just sit there and accept it and move forward. And so I was like, you know what, like I'm gonna go to UCLA, like, and looking back, that's like the one of the biggest regrets in my life, because like there's something to say for staying somewhere for 4 years um, and just giving your all to a program and the loyalty of it. And at the time, I didn't have the guidance or the foresight to just you know stay there. And so
If you reflect back on that now, right,
yeah,
as a as an older guy, what do you think you were doing that made you not a great teammate that I would guess maybe you tried to remedy in future stops?
yeah. You know what it was is just like just the as a freshman, you have to you have to know that everyone's gonna be on you, and it's your job. Like it's so much easier to just accept it and just be like, okay, and move forward. They tell you something, you say okay, and you just go because at the end of the day, they're just telling you that because that's just the way it is when you're the youngest and you're the new guy. Like you learn the culture. You don't know, and then when you're that third year, fourth year, then you know the culture and you set the standard. And so
And this is about like instilling the way that they play water polo, like what showing up on time for things, like kind of just a general like professional culture of how a college team runs.
for sure, like freshmen do cages. Freshmen take the cages out. Like it's such a simple thing, and it's and for me, I like I needed to be way more humble. Like now I see it with our freshmen and I help them because like I know what it feels like to just like it feels like the whole world is against you, but that's how it is when you're a freshman. And the light at the end of the tunnel is what keeps you going, and your brother next to you who's suffering with that to you is what keeps you going. And I couldn't swallow the pill at the time.
And so you talked about, okay, I'm going to go to UCLA, but that doesn't happen, right? This is how you end up going from Cal to Long Beach State. What's that transition like, and how'd you end up with the beach?
Yeah, so originally UCLA said, of course, come down. And so then I moved all my stuff away, and then they said to me, hey, you know what? Like we heard from your other teammates that you're not the best teammate, and we're coming off a national championship, and so it only takes one person to ruin a group. So we can't move forward with that. And Gavin Royal was like kind enough to extend me an opportunity, and to be honest, I felt so bitter about just losing, my opportunity to play at a MPSF school, losing that like competition for a national championship. I felt like I also that summer like was cut from the junior worlds team, and I couldn't play in it, and I felt like everything I had ever worked for um, within the national team had kind of gone away, and I just at Long Beach I was so bitter and so upset that I couldn't be a great teammate, and you know I would just I felt like nothing went my way and everything was against me, and so I didn't cherish the opportunity that Gavin had given me, and so I lost that opportunity too. Like we had a successful season. We won conference, but we lost to Davis, in the quarterfinal, who we beat by a lot earlier in the year, and I think we didn't take them as seriously as we should have. And I mean, especially Dan Layson, like such a legendary coach, and what he did for United States water polo and what he did with Radko Rudic is just like to me such an amazing part of water polo history. And so I didn't value it. I like almost like yeah, I didn't treat it with the respect it deserved, and Gavin did the right thing by letting me like go out into the real world on my own and finish school on my own and figure out that what I had was a gift and an opportunity that most people would do anything for.
Sounds like a couple of incredibly humbling years here that you had to live through, to put it mildly. And I imagine, right? You talk about being grateful for LMU. I have to imagine it was tough sledding, looking for a third program. Looking back for, you go back to 2024 season, right? I mean, I'm sure you follow enough other sports, right? If someone says, "Wait a minute, this guy was at Cal, now he's at Long Beach State," like, seems like he has all the talent in the world. What's going on, right? How tough was that for you to kind of square your abilities with maybe what your reputation had become?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was. I think it was 2 or 3 years of watching all these other athletes who I know well and I had grown up against, and getting all the recognition and accolades that they deserved. They put in the time for, and they worked for, and watching it happen, and not having any chance to show what I had, and so it was painful for sure. Like I felt like you know I had put my whole life towards this. I would like water polo and wanting to go to the Olympics, and so it was painful, and it's a reality check that the every opportunity I had was a gift. Like I didn't, I never created any of it. It was someone handed it to me, and it's your job to take care of it, you know. And so yeah, like it was painful for sure.
So you've kind of had this, sounds like, pretty deep reflection, right, to understand how you were as a teammate, and then kind of this bitterness at Long Beach State, and then you're kind of out of the college game for a year. Did you think that was it? I'll never play college water polo again. Where, I know you're playing club with the Channel Cats, right? Where was the college game living in your mind if we went back a year or so ago?
Yeah, I for sure thought. I mean, I knew for sure. I was like, there's nowhere I could go. Like, I mean, I talked to Coach Jack Coker, and he said, hey, like maybe you could go to a D3 school or something. But for me, I didn't want to play at that level because I just felt like that wasn't my level. And yeah, it was the college game. I mean, I was playing for the Channel Cats because it was the highest level of competition I could get, and I couldn't get any contract overseas, and my mom said, you need to finish school. Like you started it, you need to finish it. And like she said, I didn't send you to private schools for you not to finish. And
Fair,
so
fair.
so I was like a duty I owed, and so I was working and swimming and lifting, and and the Channel Cats had a really good team last year, and so that was like my main focus was like, you know what, like I want to show everybody that we're still competing at a high level, and like we can do something. We finished, I was very happy with our season with the Channel Cats. Like we beat USC twice, we beat UCI twice, and and we finished sixth, and we didn't beat UCLA. They're at another level right now for sure.
Yeah.
And yeah, it it's definitely tough watching UCLA because you see how great they are, and every practice it's like they're just raising the level of water polo in the United States, and so you want to be a part of that for sure, but it's not in the cards, and we're doing something special here at LMU, and I and we get the opportunity to show what we can do as a team, and that's a blessing for sure.
So when you were talking about joining LMU, I imagine there was a conversation that had to be had. about, hey, I'm a new guy, or here's what I'll bring. How did you go about selling yourself in this last chance here at the college game?
So yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for the Channel Cats, like it never would have happened. I we were playing. I think we played UCLA, and then we played Long Beach the next morning. And Coach David was here on the pool deck, and I had played against Coach David before, and I had seen him at a Masters practice, and he was always really nice to me, and I always really respected him because he's an amazing player, you know, and and an amazing coach as well. And I said to him, I said, "Hey, I have I have eligibility to play." And so I approached him and I said, "Hey, like I can play another year." And he was like, "Oh, that's interesting. Like we should continue to talk." And he had a sit down meeting with me, and he was like, "Hey, like this is a huge opportunity for you to change the way people, see you. And so you need to, you there's no talking back. You need to listen to what I say. If you have one strike, like if you do anything that doesn't align with our goals, then it's bye bye." And I was like, I couldn't believe I had the opportunity. And so I was like, of course, like this is the last chance. And you know it's it's so fun to have to perform in the clutch. It puts the pressure on, and it's like, I think most athletes dream of that feeling of nervousness. And so every day you don't know. Every day you don't know, and so every day you have to give it everything, otherwise it could be gone.
Yeah, just looking back at your career, you were VC Star Player of the Year as a high school senior, I want to say, and there was quotes in there, and you had some really big dreams, about the sport of water polo and what you were trying to do. And it's interesting you mentioned Jack Coker. I reached out to him before our talk and just said, like, what do you remember about Alika? And so I'm just going to read you what he told me about your skills. He was a fierce competitor, an extremely gifted athlete, able to do anything you asked skill wise, and wanted to prove to everyone he was the alpha in the water. He had a knack about finding the back of the net and an explosiveness that was unmatched in high school. If I'm to compare him to another player in the world, it would be that of Italian national teamer Francesco De Fulvio. Same tenacity and desire to dominate their opponent.
Wow, that was really nice. The Fulvio is on another level for sure. And that's, I mean, yeah, that's the kind of player that I think anybody wants to be, is his level. Like he's for sure the next level. And I appreciate Jack Coker so much because, I mean, ultimately he is who helped me get to another level, because those 3 years in high school, I mean, we accomplished some pretty amazing things for what we had. And I mean, look at Adrian Weinberg. Like,
Yeah.
Adrian Weinberg's arguably one of the best goalies in the world. And and at the time I had no idea that I was playing with one of the best goalies in the world.
Where do you, it's funny hearing you talk, right? Like I totally understand you have this gratitude for this last chance, but like there's still I think a competitor in there that feels like you can do this at the very best level. Do you let yourself dream about water polo beyond college at a very high level? Have you, in that article you talked about wanting to be an Olympian and represent Team USA. Have you had to park that idea somewhere far away? How do you think about what you used to dream about and what you're dreaming about today?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, after losing two opportunities back to back, honestly, after losing the opportunity at Cal, in my heart, I felt like I had lost the opportunity. Um, watching Team USA win a bronze medal, that kind of flipped the switch in my head, where I was like, I mean, I know those guys. Like, I've grown up with these guys. Like, if these guys are competing at this level, like, I know I can. And so I talked to Coach David. I said, yeah, like I would love to I would love the opportunity to compete overseas. And he said to me, he's like, look, you need to focus on this season, and that's all that matters. And so that's all I'm really thinking about right now is like, um, what can we do here at LMU? What can I do to help these guys reach the level that we want to reach?
The last thing for you, because there's probably a freshman or sophomore somewhere in a college team right now, and it's just like not clicking for them, and they can't figure it out, and they had big hopes, right? It's just not working for them.
Yeah.
How did you get to a place of being so introspective about this journey that you've gone on, where you can kind of just openly talk about like, hey, it was on me, like I just screwed this up.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think just self accountability, like, and time, I mean, I was lucky enough to have time to really think about what had happened and why it happened. And I think just the more accountability you take, the more like John Wooden says it, like the best athletes worry about what they can control and they don't worry about what they can't control. So I was removed from two teams. That's out of my control. So what can I control is what I can do with this opportunity in front of me. And so maybe you're on your team and you're not playing as much as you want to play, or you're not making an impact as much as you want to make an impact. You just gotta think to yourself, okay, don't blame anybody else for this. Like, think what is it that I can do to change this, and then take the steps in that direction.
Good stuff, Alika. Thank you for sharing a bit of your story, and I can tell you're grateful to be back out there. And just by looking at the box scores, right, there's still some gas left in the tank for sure. So good luck to you and the Lions the rest of this season.
Thank you so much, Greg.